Well, good day, everybody. It's the 17th of October. We're in Cape Town, and I finally made an appearance on Facebook at the previously organised and scheduled timeline. Sorry about all the confusion and random tracker updates at different times. Things are starting to settle down here, but we're still not on YouTube for this one yet, but we will be today. I'll get together with Rob. The whole team is here except for Jane. She's over in China. And we'll sort that so we'll be up on YouTube. The other interesting thing that happened last night, I got a tracker update on here on Facebook, and the time was about 10 o'clock at night or something, local time here in Cape Town. And all of a sudden, we noticed we had nearly 3 times as many people on live straight away, being unannounced and all the rest of it. So we noticed a bit of that the other night before. So we think that there is certainly is a bit of fun to watch it live, when it's happening rather than the replay. But we do have quite a solid replay situation. I think we had a couple of thousand people watching the tracker update from last night. And we get a solid following on YouTube as well when we get there. These ones will be transferred over. Rob's going to transfer them, but we'll be back live on YouTube as well. But we're going to change the time. Now, this might upset some people, I'm not sure, but certainly give us your comments. We think we're going to go with 1700 hours UTC, which is 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock on French time. 1700, so it's cheapest. Now I'm getting confused here. 9 o'clock. So we go, so it's 2100. We go back to, so 21, so 2019, 1900 hours UTC. Okay. And 1900 hours UTC works out at 9 o'clock in France and a big chunk of Europe. And we think people aren't at work, so they can actually come on live and so on. So, and it's all getting very exciting now. So yeah, I'll probably do another one tonight at that 1900 hours just to explain to people what's going on and give you a latest update, because there is some critical decisions being made right now on the course. So I figure there won't be many live this morning because you've given up on the fact that we haven't been here for so long. But anyway, we'll get straight into it and show you what's happening. Getting very exciting. And I put in the comments, if probably in the title, I mean, if it's there, I hope it is. But just talking about the fact that we're going to give an ETA prediction on the first boats arriving, and we'll get into that in a minute. It's all happening down here, and I'll even go so far as to predict, in my opinion, who's actually going to take out line on us. And it might not be what you think, but anyway, I'll put my neck on the chopping block and see what happens. So coming right back here again to Godspeed. Godspeed right now, or a couple of hours ago, was doing 5.9 knots. Heading south, breeze in the southeast trades, and they're not super strong. They're quite comfortable, very similar to the videos you would have seen on other boats coming down here. So, all's not too bad. Evrika have to be happy, the fact that she's able to hold that port tack again and still continuing on and arcing around towards Cape Town. Did she gain anything so far where she was when she went out to the east? Probably not. Hasn't gained a lot, but it's still, let's wait and see what happens as it goes. Outlaw had to do an attack to the east because she wasn't being right where she wanted to be. She wants to obviously come down this end of the line, not just sort of converging down here. So I have no idea how this is going to play out, but certainly we'll push the weather through in a minute. I'll put Explorer on the back end here, doing 4.2 knots. It's pretty clear to see there's this area of no wind. That's the reason she's going slow there. So with it, if I hide the rest of the fleet, because then you don't get distracted, I'm just going to walk the weather through for the next 2 days on the boats here. So I just come forward a day. We go around about here. Okay, so that's a day forward. You can see the whole thing over here is lightening off, and that's not so bad, but not so good either. I think there's a little bit not enough breeze here. For Evrika, it's okay. It's coming directly from the east, so she'll be able to harden up a bit and sail to windward a bit closer, so hooking around even further. And that's a good thing in light weather, so that's okay. Godspeed's okay. They're going to hold the same. Outlaw, light winds, that's good for making progress. But I think it may be a little bit too light. She's doing 6.4 at the moment. She'd much rather be doing 7 knots or something and just a little bit cracked off, but not too bad. Explorer in a bit of a mixed bag, but it's coming around on the nose here. So there's a starburst coming from a system below. So, not good for Explorer, but at least it's light and not too strong. So then coming across another day around about here, pretty much the same for everything that's happening for Evrika Outlaw and Godspeed. Godspeed's the same. Evrika's getting a challenge because they're on the wrong side of this high, but that could send the winds around to the east a bit more, so it's going to hook around. An Outlaw, that's okay. That's a nice breeze for going south. So all looking good. Explorer finally cracks it, gets a big puff from the behind, and they'll get their kites up and get moving. So a slow day for Explorer in the next 24 hours, but then she'll pick up and start heading in. And we're still waiting to hear. We will get sound clouds up today. Big job today. There's 6 sound clouds coming. What happened there is, as you know, we missed 3 days last week. We've just scrapped them. They won't be redone because we're already into this new week. But the 3 that were on SoundCloud for Monday, we're combining them with Tuesday's SoundCloud. And Jack and Georgie are going to take those calls and do the interviews and so on. So there'll be a whole swag of new SoundClouds coming up, hopefully by later today. They'll be on there. Certainly by tonight, they'll be there. So let's look at the middle fleet here without looking at the leaders. I'll just bounce it up a bit. Well, you can see the weather here is all centered around this particular area of the high. It's going around, but underneath it here, there's another huge one forming up, which is creating that sort of combination. This whole area in here is the center of a high. There's a series of centers there. And in fact, this is a separate one from that one because you can see the breeze coming around the corner there. So there's definitely a northerly wind there. So that's forming up as 2 separate ones. But I don't want to go into the big picture. That's a quick sneak, and we'll talk about the big picture here as we start talking about the lead group, because that's what's going to give us the biggest influence on leading into the finish in Cape Town. So for now, we'll concentrate on this middle group. But yeah, you can see there's still a bit of confusion there in terms of different weather for different boats that aren't very far apart. And to give you an idea of that, what do we got here? 250 miles. Yeah, that's White Shadow's 250 miles separated from Galliana. So it is a big geographic area. So if we look at Sterner, happy with the breeze, that's for sure, 7.4 knots, and it's coming on the beam. So they're roaring along, probably in about 1.5 meters sea. Shouldn't be much water on the deck and really trucking. So they'll be happy with that. 148 miles in the last 24 hours. White Shadow will be the same, 7.3. In fact, they're both doing 7.3. Sterner's doing a little bit quicker, even though she's a smaller boat. 154 miles in the day for White Shadow. Everything's reporting good on board. Neptune got bogged down in this no wind area. It was all the funny bits in the last 24 hours. And so you can see she did a losing tack out to the northeast. It's pretty much a waste of time. But if there's no wind, there's not a lot you can do. Doing 6.9 knots now on track, going exactly where she should go. But Triana has moved past her, now doing 6 knots and heading into the center of this high, which you can't do anything about because this is where you are. You just got to hope that the position of this is going to change. The Spirit of Queep is, I probably said that wrong. Yes, I know. Is doing 4.5 knots, supremely frustrated. They're on the wrong side of the high, so they've got headwinds. They'll be thinking, where can we go? What can we do? They don't have much choices. They're not making bad choices. They just don't have many opportunities to do anything else right now because they know if they tack across, they're just driving into nothing. So they got to try and hold on and wait for the system to change around them. Okay, so yeah, there's some difficult things going on board, and I feel sorry for the Spirit because they can't do anything else. Same too with Tapio. Now this is really interesting. Tapio knows only too well about getting south here on your approach, and even the weather. You just got to get down there. He's sucked into this situation now where he's got a southeasterly wind. He either goes down to the south or he goes across to the east. And even though it might be tempting to go east, he knows you're better off putting it in the bank and get south because things are likely to change. And you'll see in a minute when we go through the big picture weather, a larger map, what's happening. It's not a bad move, and I think Tapio knows that. And I'll explain the reason why when we get down there. It's his past experience in the Whitbread and what he's seen for the GGR and all these things. So anyway, Tapio is pounding ahead at 7.2 knots. And the reality there is that if he was going really to windward, he'd only be doing about 6 knots or something. So I think he's cracked off and heading south. So that's pretty clear as well. He might be making a tactical move. But there's also a fair bit of breeze there. As I've said, that yellowy colour, orange, is 28 knots, gusting 30 something, gusting 35, and they're going into it. So it's quite windy. It'd be reefed down, probably 2 reefs in the main and maybe a staysail, and that might be it. I don't know. The sea state will have been up. Let's have a look at the sea state there. He's got the most wind at the moment. Probably 3 meters, 3-4 meters, maybe even a bit more, and it's all head seas and a bit confusing. But fortunately, because the wind is changing so quickly in these areas, it does get confusing. You'll have seas from different directions because you see you got wind here, wind that way, blah blah blah. But they don't get a chance to build up hugely like the real Southern Ocean. And he's only at 30 degrees south at the moment, so it's still a sort of a, they shouldn't be too bad, but not as good as having a 25 knots behind you. Anyway, that's straightforward with that one. So what's happening with these guys in the next couple of days? We come forward a day, and bingo, Tapio's not looking good. This low pressure cell forming out to the east has created even stronger headwinds coming up. He'll be down here by that. In fact, I might have to keep an eye on that because I don't think it'll be a weather alert, but I'll certainly follow it on windy and get the actual wind speeds there. This is pushing into 30, 32 knots of forecast wind once you start to see this red stuff, and he'll be down here. So that's happening. Triana, Neptune, White Shadow will be along a bit. They've all got good wind direction, and White Shadow should hold this breeze. Sterna may start to run out, so Sterna may go slow tomorrow, but the others are okay. It's the Spirit Equip, that one. They'll obviously tack across now and just start running down for sure. They'll take across the port tack and be running out or sailing out and doing pretty well, and then they've got an option now. When you've got an easterly, you would certainly be heading south. So that's the first day. Second day out, it's all changing. Let's hope the Spirit Equip actually heads south fast and holds this. Triana will be doing okay. Neptune, I'm sure they'll be coming down as well. White Shadow's on the move. Sterna should be moving by then. It's all behind them. It might be a slow day on the second day, but they'll be going. And what's happening to Galliana? When did that change? Galliana's finally got the right sort of breeze, but she might get parked in this lot then. So anyway, not too bad. And we'll talk a bit more about Galliana in a minute when I'm looking at the big picture for the lead group. So here it is. This is what's going to happen. And right now, the Spirit of Helsinki is actually leading the race online on us. Okay, and you can see now, if you draw a direct line, let's assume you want to just say distance to the finish, direct line there is going to be, and then direct line here, no alterations in course. Well, the boxes will tell you. I'll just see. So Marie has 532 nautical miles to go to the finish, and that will be an accurate figure. The Spirit of Helsinki has only got 507 miles, so he's about 25 miles in front of, is that right? About 25, 20 or something like that, 22, 25 in front of Penjuik. Okay, and then to give you the picture of how far behind is translated just as a distance following up from Penjuik. From Penjuik, about 90 miles behind, which is absolutely nothing. So as I explained last night, assuming everything stays the same in terms of being able to keep sailing in the average way they have been, and there's no damages, touch wood, boom, boom, boom. There's no question that the translator is going to hook into IRC, rankings first across the line and stuff like that. So distance for maiden from Penjuik is only 140 miles. So all told, it's kind of an interesting story, especially now. We were just talking about this the other day. Everyone has a bit of fun out on the track and even before the race to psych each other out. And Marie was always referring only to translated and maiden, watch out, I'm your worst enemy. And translator was saying things back to Penjuik. But I think some people may have forgotten about Spirit of Helsinki, and she may be stretching her legs here. And I'll explain a little bit about that as we continue here. Get rid of that. And let's talk about what's going to happen with the weather. So The first thing is it's pretty easy to see that Helsinki might slow down a little bit. They've got following winds, so's Penduic. So their speed at the moment, Penduic doing 4.9 knots with a following breeze, kites up, but it's not a strong breeze. Spirit of Helsinki doing 9.2 knots downwind. So remembering this graphic is very loose. It may not be the same that they're getting on the boat, and it's pretty obviously not. Helsinki's got a good solid breeze. Some of this may be pushing in earlier, keep it going. And there's a huge difference. And, in that sort of thing, it doesn't take many hours and you'll quickly move ahead again even more. Translated, doing 9.3, so closing the gap with Penduic, which is interesting. And Maiden doing 10.2. See, they cracked their top speed. They did a post. I was going to share it, but I have been too busy. But I think they did like 19 knots or something. It's a new top speed for the boat. So they're hooting along, which is good to see. So I'm going to click the weather through an hour at a time, okay? And you can see there, Maiden and Translated getting the same sort of stuff. I'll just pull this back to mention. I don't think I can do it. No, I'll do it on the big picture stuff after. Maiden and Translated, the weather's staying the same. Okay, so this is this afternoon coming up into tonight. The soft patch that was ahead of both Penduic and Spirit of Helsinki seems to disappear. So you've now moved into an airflow which is pretty much a south-southeasterly wind, okay, which is very good for these boats. They'll all start moving fast. It's starting to swing around. It's twisting around this high here. So you can see that because the centre is going to come across, it might start to come more to the east-southeast a bit more that way for Maiden and Translated, but it's still looking okay. You can see Cape Town up in the back there. I'm going to leave this high here so you can see that's the high that's running around in a counterclockwise direction. So just pushing it through. There's still breeze there for all of them. That's looking good. It's quite fast. And so they're able to hold that if you're holding the line, but it's now coming through, starting to get towards being a close reach. Now you can see this wind coming up here. It's starting to hook right as you go higher. It's starting to hook more to the east straight away. And this is important because it means that because Spirit of Helsinki is to windward of Penduic, that automatically is saying that they're in a commanding position. They can afford to pay off and bear away. But the interesting one now is because they're further south, and this always happens because this is what we're saying, you usually come up from 40 at southwest there, the wind is always going to hook around this way. So just the fact that Spirit of Helsinki was further south than these guys is playing into her game plan. It's putting her in a more favourable position, dramatically more favourable than Penduic. And even if the wind stays the same, you can see there, if you look at that now, that's hard on the breeze for Penduic, but you look at this and it's sort of close reaching. Well, it's very fine to detect, but it is happening. And so either way, even if they had the same breeze, Spirit can pay off and keep going faster while she's closing the drop from Marie. And I'll give you a distance perspective there. How much further south is she? She's about 90 miles further south than Penduic. And on a race course, if you're 90 miles to windward of your component who's level with you, you're in a fantastic position, right? So, and that's exactly what's playing out now. So we keep pushing forward now. This is coming into the 19th. I'll just stop it there. So same sort of stuff. They're pretty similar breezes. To give you an idea of the distances from the finish, so we've gone through that. So there's 514 miles. So that's going to be about 3 days, two and a half days sort of thing. So by the time we get to this position, they're going to be, with this wind strength, they're going to be around about here, if I remember rightly, 19, 17, 18, 19. 2 days. So that's going to be, they're going to be a long way ahead. So in 2 days, they're going to be, I can't get to it. I can't either. That's interesting. So I've got to do this a bit differently. I'm going to go boom, boom. Okay, so by the 19th, they're going to be up around here somewhere, and the breeze is really picking up. Now, the 19th, that's about where they're going to be in this weather forecast. And you can see this this sort of easterly come southeasterly is getting stronger. There's quite a heap of breeze there. And what that means is an interesting thing that is going to happen. You will see Spirit of Helsinki go for boat speed. I don't know whether she knows where Marie is. I think she does. I think they do. And they will use that windward advantage to pay off and keep the boat speed up. The other thing is, I mentioned this last night, Spirit of Helsinki is a very demanding boat to sail. One mast, huge sail area, quite big loads and all that sort of stuff. Not a big crew, not a crack racing crew, but they're good crew. But as soon as it picks up, the wind picks up and they can reef the boat down. So you put a couple of reefs in the mainsail and then juggle your head sails. It doesn't matter. You can drive the boat really hard. So you can actually get more percentage performance. Say if you're sailing the boat with full rig under pressure and it's too much to handle, you might be sailing at about 70, 75% efficiency. And so you're not optimizing the beautiful design of the boat, things like that. Whereas Penduic, with a catch rig sort of thing and a really solid boat that looks for breeze to go, it's easy to get the most out of it. And they got good sailors as well. So it's all okay. But as soon as they reef, the boat becomes more manageable and easier to handle. The boat design comes into effect. And there's no question in my mind that boat design, 651, is super powerful. Going to windward is super hot. So everything I'm leading to the fact that, in my opinion now, I think Penduic is really under pressure. And I'll be surprised if she can try and hold a position to be first across the line. I think Spirit of Helsinki is really looking good at the moment, looking strong. And if we follow that through again right through to the 20th, I think we'll see the line on its person, whoever it is, and I think it's going to be Spirit of Helsinki. They should turn up sometime on Friday if it was all good weather and none of this really heavy stuff here, which will keep the boat speed high. But I think you'll find they'll have to pay off and do another tack into this if they have. I don't think you can already see Penduic's coming along like this, and it's nowhere near Cape Town. When they get into this, they're going to get blown up north, and then they've got to decide where they're going to go, where they go through it and then tack down. So it'll be a very interesting tactical approach. So this is Thursday night, and now we're into Friday, and it backs off. So it backs off a little bit because there's a low pressure system formed right there, and if someone then gets through this, they're going to have, all sorts of little issues here as well. So anyway, pushing it through. This is lunchtime Friday, and you can see it's been hard work for them, and it'll be very interesting to watch. So what's happening to Translated and Maiden at the same time? They're pretty much going to be sucked in behind Penduic. I think they'll hold Penduic at whatever happens. Even if Translated and Maiden end up too high and they're going to tack down, they'll still cream it with the IRC. I can't see anything happening unless something breaks, touch wood, or something stops them going. So I'm just going to enlarge this and show you the challenges when you get to Cape Town on the weather. So here's Cape Town. This is atypical of what's going to happen. You've got Table Mountain here, the huge mountains, and then you've got the heat of the land and all these sorts of issues. So it's very common, again, to find a patch of no wind there. And so coming in here, when they're coming across, they're going to have it on the nose. They might end up there. They might park. So, even though the distance is only 500 and something miles, and you'd think they were going to be here on Thursday night, it's simply not going to happen because they've got, unfavorable wind direction, and then they're going to have these calms, and then they're going to sit around for a while, and I'll just keep pushing it through. So this is coming into Thursday night. Okay, then you start to get a bit of a breeze, and that's kind of nice because when it's blowing from the north, or northwest, they'll start sailing again. So we may not see them until Friday night, and it could even roll over. See, it's going quiet again here. Not a lot of breeze there. It could even roll over into Saturday. So very hard to predict in the ETA, but I'm thinking sometime Friday. I think it'll be Spirit of Helsinki that's going to take line on us, and I think it's going to be Translated, which will take IRC. And Penduic will slot in between there. I reckon we're going to see Penduic arrive maybe 4 hours or so, 4 or 5 hours behind Spirit of Helsinki. But let's wait and see. It's a yacht race, and anything can happen. But one thing's for sure, it's going to be a very exciting finish. And for everyone that's following the race, you've got to say, Penduic just nailed it, all the way down the Atlantic. And then, there'll be all sorts of comments. Oh, we didn't have weather. We didn't know where the high was. But I'll still maintain. And this, I'll bring you back to Tapio on this one. I'll still maintain that no matter what, if anyone had been down following this weather and really made a concerted effort just to forget the weather, just get south, then come roaring along, it could have made a huge difference. And Penduick, for sure, turned really, as soon as they got level with Cape Town, for whatever reason, turned quick. I'm not saying it was a bad decision or anything like that. I'm just saying it's the decision they made based on the weather they had, and it's still yet to play out. So the game's not over. Penduick could quite conceivably sail hard and fast. And at this point, when you get 500 miles away after you've sailed all the way down the Atlantic, it's like you're finished. Everything's focused on only a few days left. So you sort of have a shower, usually wash your hair, when you're 600 miles away, you're ready to step ashore. But I'm pretty sure they'll probably know that Helsinki is on their hammer and they might be in trouble. So they'll pull their finger out and they'll be, really working the boat hard to get every mile. And it's pretty clear that Maiden's doing the same. They're really pushing it, top speeds. Translated are just doing what they do, which has always blown me away. It's only a bloody Swan 65, and so they're sailing really well. So just back to Galiana. Let's have a look at what's going on here. And the story with Tapio in his earlier Whitbread when he was 23 or something in '89 Whitbread. They went the middle track like Avrika are going, and then they had Ceramco New Zealand with late Sir Peter Blake on board, lost their mast, and they came roaring down the trade wind route, via this the western side of the South Atlantic, and just sailed past Galiana. They just went straight down. And I'm not sure of the track they took, but he was more or less referring to the traditional track coming down here and sailing up, because when you're sailing with a jury rig, you can't push yourself too much to windward, things like that. So Peter would have known, come down here. And I may be wrong here. I'm speculating that he probably came way south here and then just ripped up. And, Tapio often talks about being taught an interesting lesson. And he knows you've got to go south. Whether it's going to pay off for him now is a bit hard to say. I might have something's frozen on here. Sure what. I hope I'm still transmitting. That might be it. Anyway, he's heading south. I'm going to go back and see what this is looking like. I think my screen just froze, and I'm not sure why. So hopefully, someone want to say if I'm still there? Maybe I lost it. Don't tell me. Oh, well, 11:28. No, there was a comment 11:28 1 minute ago. Okay, might be here. I'll have a quick look at the comments. G'day, Paul. Morning, Don. If you do an update tonight, what will be the approximate time? It's going to be 9 o'clock French time. That's 2100 hours tonight. So that means it'll be 1900 hours UTC. I'm going to try for 9 o'clock at night. Because we did get a bunch of people jumped on unexpectedly last night when it's after hours. Morning, Peter. Some of us work at night, but no problems with 2 updates a day. So that's how you prefer the morning. Yeah, I get it. We might do that, especially towards the finish now, if we can. So time change would be good, Don. Yeah, depends on what part of the world. Morning from Ireland. Morning from Helsinki. Yeah, I know who you're following. Morning. The end of leg 1 is coming closer. Awesome sailing. Yeah, it's getting exciting now. Okay, all cool. All right, so that's it. Oh, I forgot to push over there. Don't know what happened to the map at the end, but we got it all done. So that was a long one. I'll go. My nose is still blocked. Thanks for everyone that was just passing comments about the gold I've got. Ada's got it now, and Rob's sort of a bit concerned, but you get over it. See you on Friday. Ooh, it's going to be exciting.